What's going on, guys? This is Hit You Good, your favorite all-American freedom-loving gamer, and today got a special treat for you and a very specific challenge for me in Battlefield 4, and that is the Terminal List Loadout Challenge, where we look at James Reese's weaponry that he uses in the show, and we try to duplicate it in the Battlefield 4 and see how it stacks up. Now, mind you, I am really loving this show. I'm only about six episodes in, so getting close to the end. So no spoilers for me in the comments, and I won't spoil anything for you here in the video. But I love this show so far. It's very imaginative. I love what the writers have done with it. We'll go in a little bit deeper on why I like the Terminal List, but for now, let's look at the loadout that James Reese had. Now, when I first started doing a little bit of research for this, I found a lot of sources saying that he had a M1 Colt carbine, which is a platform of the M4, and it being a carbine, when I read that, I was like, oh no, I'm going to have to pull out the M4 carbine on Battlefield 4, which I used to be pretty decent with, but considering, you know, the attachment that he runs, having to build the weapon the same way he did, and Battlefield 4 doesn't translate as well, the M4 carbine is a little bit difficult to use. It has to kill in 5 shots, so it means, and it's a burst rifle. That's the biggest thing. So I had to get used to using the burst rifle again, which is an entirely different form of gameplay in this game. But that's okay. We ended up building it the way he did, but I kept looking a little bit further. I saw several sources that said it was the M4 carbine, and I wasn't really satisfied with that answer. It didn't feel like I had it from the official source. So I go and I find the Instagram account for the prop company, Extreme Props, who does all the props for Terminal List, and I found that it was the BCM SX4 rifle, and in the description it is listed as fully automatic. So I'm thinking, thank God I don't have to run the M4 anymore. I can go back to the M416. And I'm happy about this because with that M4 carbine, it does have a pretty decent damage drop-off rate. You have to be in a very certain distance, and it works really well in that distance, but only in that distance. It's not very good up close. It's not that great at long-distance shots. Because you have to be accurate with it, and that burst at a long range, you might hit 1 or 2 bullets. So that medium range is your sweet spot, and it can dominate if you use it properly. And even the fire rate of this thing depends on your rhythm with the trigger. You can completely mess it up where the gun jams and hesitates, or you can get this thing firing faster than most of the automatic rifles in this game. But M416, the thing I love about this gun is its versatility. It's used at a lot of different ranges, and of course it's good at medium range. That's where it excels at, but it takes 1 less bullet in order to drop an enemy, and I can play with that trigger a little bit more, you know, either using micro burst or full burst. And in this, I do have to change my gameplay style a little bit while building this M416, which is the closest thing in the game, basically the same thing as the BCM SX4 rifle is. Now, when I pull up the Instagram post, we get a little bit information on how to build this gun. So first off, he has the Aimpoint Micro T2 and an Aimpoint 3XC magnifier. So the closest thing that I can find to what he has in the show is the PKAS 1X time holographic sight. Unfortunately, none of these others really do it justice for anything else, and it doesn't look like we have anything close to it as well on this side. But of course, the accessory is the magnifier 2X. Unfortunately, he ends up using a flashlight on his rifle, and it takes up the slot of that accessory. So I've got to kind of make a decision here. I do believe that I'm going to be using the magnifier more as he did. I don't think I ever saw him use the flashlight on this particular weapon. Of course, I've only been to episode 6, but I've seen him use the magnifier on numerous occasions. Of course, this is a 3X, mine's a 2X, but this is the closest the game has to offer. It also describes the gun having a rugged suppressor 3-port brake. Now, as you know, I'm a gun guy. This is not a suppressor. I don't want you to be confused by that. Definitely not a suppressor. They got that in the name, but that's not what it is. It is a 3-port brake, meaning muzzle brake. So therefore, we put the muzzle brake on here. In this particular instance, it improves stability by reducing muzzle climb by 25%, but it adds a 30% penalty to the accuracy of automatic fire. So, that being said, this thing, I've got to change what I was doing. Instead of longer bursts, I've got to do shorter bursts of, 4, 5, 6 bullets at the most, because it adds that 30% penalty to the accuracy of automatic fire, and I could really, really tell that while using this gun. Also, another thing that's going to put me at a disadvantage while running this is no underbarrel attachment. You've got all of these underbarrel attachments that are going to help, with run and gunning situations, reducing the first shot recoil by 33%. Usually use the stubby grip. That would reduce the automatic fire penalty by 15%. So if I was laying down on somebody, the bullet spread wouldn't open up quite as much. But unfortunately now, I've got no attachment, which kind of sucks. So I don't have anything to kind of help these out. And the paint is going to be black. So this isn't ideally the way I would set this rifle up, but it is still very usable. And I did have a lot of fun with it. For his secondary weapon, he has a G19. Of course, the closest thing that I've got in this particular game is the G18. Now, the biggest difference between this G18 and his G19 is that the G18 is a fully automatic pistol, which is its strength in Battlefield 4. That's what makes this gun worth using, but I did my best to switch this thing over to the regular semi-automatic fire just to be authentic as possible. And the G19 gun that he has in there is actually a pretty nice firearm. Might be even nicer than this G18. But for the rest of the loadout, we've got the first aid pack. And I just went with the first aid stuff for this because I don't see any instance of him ever using anything like any of these launchers, M320 Dart, M26 Mass, Slug, Frags. I don't see any of that. So we stuck with the first aid stuff, considering he did administer first aid to himself while he was hiding in the mountains, but that's all I got to say about that because we're not giving any spoilers away. As far as this goes, I had two different options here. M18 Smoke, which you can see him in the 5th episode, he uses that to cover his advance, and the hand flare. Also got that as well. I figured that'd be kind of a comical use. I've never gotten much use out of the hand flare in this game, but with the M18 Smoke, I'd never used it before, but I actually figured that there's some good uses for this. Anytime that I was running out in the open that didn't have any kind of cover, it was very good for some of the wide open maps getting from point A to point B. I could easily, cover my advance, sneak up on my opponents. Lastly, knife, I really wanted to find like an axe or something of that like, and unfortunately there's nothing in here that reflects that. Of course, my C100 bayonet, or bipod knife, if you watch Battlefield Friends back in the day, you know exactly what that is, and it's hilarious. If you haven't seen that, you probably want to check it out, especially if you played Battlefield 4. But we're just going with the machete. So, this is pretty much our loadout right here, guys. The M416, G18, first aid pack, defibrillator, M18 smokes, and the machete. And we have our James Reese is ready to go. So, as I've already kind of talked about how this performs anyways, not having the underbarrel really sucks. It does have a lot more recoil because of that, so I had to be a little more studious on controlling the recoil, but hopefully this is going to make me a better Battlefield player. It was a little bit aggravating having to flip up the magnifier every single time. I usually run Coyote sights on the M416. It's the clearest picture with the least intrusion. This is kind of, it impedes your sight a little bit with this scope, and then having to use the magnifier on top of that was a little laborious, a little monotonous having to do that every time you spawn, to take it on, take it off, depending on the situation, but we made it work. Anyways, probably the big thing that I really, really love about this series, not only that it is the #1 viewed series on Amazon, but that the liberal left is just freaking out. They're losing their minds over this being a success. And the whole reason is because it's just a regular a regular series that doesn't put forth any kind of forced diversity or wokeness or even a private political agenda. It's just good storytelling, and that's what I enjoy about this. Matter of fact, Nick Shager, who claims himself an entertainment critic, must have not been very entertaining for his life considering he's a critic. But he says Chris Pratt's The Terminal List is an unhinged right-wing revenge fantasy. Oh, can you believe that? Oh, I should have seen it. Thank God we have people like Nick Shager around to give us clues whenever there's microaggressions abound. But he's not even saying it's a microaggression. He says it panders to male red state viewers with routine references to, are y'all ready for this? Beer, guns, wow, country music, and hunting. Holy crap, guys. I mean, this really needs to be like an X-rated series right here. I don't know if people will be able to handle this. But this is just absolute proof that if you do not only conform to their standards, but actively affirm what they believe, they hate you. Of course, we've seen multiple instances. They try to cancel people, try to ruin people's jobs. You you can't stand out in society, they will try to ruin you. And if anybody doubts that, I've got plenty of stories from it. But this is a really, really good series. I've enjoyed it because the writers put you in the mind of James Reese. There's a lot of times that you're questioning, is James crazy? Is he not? You know, and you know just as much as James does in many circumstances. So it kind of puts you on edge the whole time, and I really do enjoy this. But anyways, guys, if you like this and enjoyed this kind of loadout series, let me know in the comment section below. I might do a terminal list loadout series for the Modern Warfare of 2019 Modern Warfare. As we get closer to Modern Warfare 2 coming out, which I'm excited about, I will be, you know, kind of transferring over to Modern Warfare and getting used to that style of game again before we hop back into Modern Warfare 2. So I could do another video on that. But guys, I definitely appreciate you checking out the video today. Please like and subscribe, turn on your notifications, and, you know, leave me a comment in the comments section telling me what I missed on this or what I could have done better. But anyways, God bless, happy gaming. Oh, and before we leave, here's a quick word from Uncle Joe himself.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to excuse me.